What's up, passionate DJs? We're coming at you today because Pioneer has announced an amazing-looking mixer, the DJM. Is it V10?
V10.
The V10. This is going to be a very unpolished video, just kind of our initial reactions to it. This is one of those things that we were kind of surprised by. Didn't really have any forewarning of it, so whoops. So this is a 6-channel DJM from Pioneer that seems to be sort of more oriented in the direction of sound quality, sound sculpting. Tony, you commented it looked very techno.
Yeah, very.
Pretty fascinating thing. So it's 6 channels. It's got a pretty robust, looks like filter system. It's got dual queuing for multiple DJs. They've added a new effect called shimmer. It has an isolator EQ for the master output, and just all kinds of stuff here, a Magvel fader. So we're just going to kind of give a quick overview of this thing and see what we think about it. So what are your initial reactions, Tony? You said it looked very techno. What else do you notice about the mixer that stands out to you?
It's got the EQ, the 4-band EQ with the low mid and the high mid, which kind of reminded me of the Allen and Heath.
Yeah.
The fader, me loving the scratch. I know a lot of techno DJs don't scratch, but it does not have the curve adjustment anymore, and I was kind of bummed about seeing that.
That's really surprising. Yeah, if you zoom in on the photo, there's no fader curve adjustment to be found unless they've buried it in a menu or something.
Being a festival stage manager and having a monitor world, being able to mix monitors as well, you can EQ your monitor, which I really like.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
It kind of reminded me of almost a mesh up, obviously excluding the vertical faders of the Model 1, you know.
Yeah.
A little bit. But I mean, those are the main things that I noticed. And then obviously the Pioneer, like, rich boy price point.
Yeah, it was what, $3,100, $3,200?
Yeah, like 31
like
something.
When I saw that price point, the thing that came to mind is like if you go with this into Nexus 2000, that's 10 grand already.
Yeah.
As if a Nexus setup wasn't expensive to begin with.
Right.
Yeah, the other thing that stood out to me is it almost seems like the kind of mixer, like some mixers in the past they've had like rotary kits for. If I've ever seen a mixer that needs a rotary kit, it's this one. But I don't think that that's going to happen because as I look at the photos, it doesn't look like that like mixer fader section is replaceable. So it looks like they've really decided like, we like these faders, we like these curves, and this is what we're sticking with. This is what our research shows that should come out on this mixer is kind of the impression I get.
Mm-hmm. The dual headphone jack is pretty dope too, I believe.
Yeah, with the dual queuing, so 2 different DJs can monitor 2 different channels in their headphones. That is pretty awesome. I wish more mixers would do that, to be honest. So this is the mixer. Looks great. Obviously, 6 channels makes it a lot larger than your typical DJM-900.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just kind of taking a look at Pioneer's site here because, you know, it's NAMM time, and that means all the new gear is getting announced. And sometimes we have a heads up for this stuff, and sometimes we don't. And this was one that kind of caught us off guard, and we all started messaging each other like, hey, did you see this thing? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Instagram post that Mo sent, like, that was the first thing that I noticed. So I was just, you know, scrolling through Instagram, and I had seen Claude post it, and I was like, holy shit. Like, I thought he was just switching to the Model 1. I'm like, hey, man, that's Pioneer.
Yeah.
And that's when I dug a little deeper, David, and that's when I text you. Like, whoa.
Yeah, initially it does look like a zone mixer.
Yeah, it definitely has that higher end look to it, and like Tony commented, seems much more techno oriented, and I think that the lack of a crossfader adjustment specifically would kind of speak to that. I mean, they're not going to cater to hip hop DJs without that, for example.
Right. I was watching if you watch the promo video, they're playing some form of tech house, progressive house, like more style of music in that video to kind of show you the sound sculpting that it can do, and that's what they're I think focusing on.
So Pioneer says, introducing the 6-channel DJM-V10, a new breed of professional mixer built to enable DJs to craft new soundscapes from multiple audio sources. So the first thing that they mention is natural warmth from their ESS sound processing. They say the audio had to be delicately balanced, offering both warmth and clarity. While building numerous prototypes, we tried out various components and performed test after test, making refinements and so on. So they're seemingly going for that kind of like analog warmth type of sound, which you know, I approve of if they pull that off. They mentioned the 4-band EQ. Now, I think that this is a great move. I wish more mixers had this kind of Allen and Heath style 4-band EQ. It's probably my favorite thing about an Allen and Heath mixer next to the filters. They say, we built in a 4-band EQ to enable you to independently control distinct elements of the music, for example, kick drums and bass. We set up a club-style sound system for testing the audio as we built each frequency band from scratch. They also mention, let's see, freedom to create. To help DJs assemble custom setups and get creative with external hardware during their sets, we built an expanded send return section. The design is tailored to work seamlessly with instruments and guitar pedals as well as effects units. After much research and testing, we decided on a selection of effects that work well for live remixing, enhancing sounds from external equipment without overpowering them or feeling unnatural. I think it's interesting that they mention that because Pioneer, I would say, is one of the, like the DJM line traditionally might be one of the harsher sounding, maybe more digital sounding mixers when compared to like something like a Model 1 or an Allen and Heath or something. And it's almost like they're like acknowledging that and saying, here's our solution. But it's also going to cost $3,000.
Yeah, I read somewhere where there's only 4 channels that you can actually link. The other 2, you can only link 4 channels at one time.
Link in what way? Like to the USB audio?
Okay, just because you can play 6 channels doesn't mean that you'll start to see 6 CDJs. The DJ Pro link limits the number. So there must be a link actually on the back that you can only link 4 CDJs at one time.
Gotcha, through the Ethernet.
Look at the back of the mixer. So they must have a direct Ethernet port on the back.
Yeah, there's one. It looks like.
Oh, there's only one?
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have a built-in hub, it seems.
Yeah. So like somebody else.
Linking this DJ, so you link that through an actual hub, so you should be able to link more, I would assume.
So here's a top-down view, and they've got a couple of little bullet points here. They mentioned the you can use the DJM Rec app to like direct record to your phone or whatever in that Pioneer way, like you would expect. One interesting thing that I saw on here was that each channel, all 6 channels, in fact, have a built-in compressor knob. And I was a little curious about that because I was like, man, what, you're just gonna have DJs like over-compressing already over-compressed tracks?
Well, they said that your actual MP3s or your files don't have to be mixed or mastered. That's.
Yeah, in the video, that was the comment speaking to that piece.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense when you think about it in that context. And the other thing is playing vinyl records, especially older ones. Like if you're playing like old like 70s, 80s funk records or something like that, those were not mastered in the same way, and it's really tough to really get those boosted up on a traditional DJ mixer when you're mixing it with more modern stuff. And so it would be really handy in a case like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a dedicated filter system, kind of zone style. It has a dedicated resonance, min-max potentiometer on it. And then you can assign those, filters to whichever channels. But then they have, an individual knob for each filter per channel. But then you assign it low pass or high pass over here on the right with the resonance. And then it seems like there's also maybe a master filter as well. They mentioned the new effect, which is shimmer. It says it adds brightness and harmony to your tracks. That's one of the beat effects. To Tony's point, you can EQ the booth, which is pretty nice. This is sort of meant to be it's like the Cadillac of Pioneer mixers, right? We got the dual headphones output for multiple DJs. So yeah, looks pretty interesting. Here's a view of the back. Of course, they show the MIDI output, the 5-pin MIDI DIN, and that's so that you can do tempo syncing and stuff with external hardware. If you're not already doing that over USB, comes with a locking power connector, just becoming pretty common.
So I'm looking, if you go scroll back to that, David.
Yes, sir.
So on channel, what is that? Channel 2 and channel 4? Or is that
5.
channel 5? Why is there only 2 RC decks instead of 4?
So it looks like the phono preamps are built into channels 3 and 4, which are in the middle, and then 1 and 6, which are on the outside. So 2 and 5 are going to be line inputs only.
Okay.
So it probably just has the 4 built-in phono preamps, and it's probably reasonable to say they didn't need to put 6 of those in there because not many people are going to be mixing on 6 tables. So I think they just did that so that you could
Unless
have
you're the executioners.
Yeah, right. Which, I mean, this is kind of meant to be used with multiple DJs too. So it's like high-end audio, but also like, hey, you want a couple people in here, you want some outboard gear. It's kind of like an all-in-one. So it kind of reminds me of what was the 6-channel zone mixer, the Zone 62. It kind of has that wide look to it. So they show a couple of example setups down here. Maybe you'll have your, CDJ Nexus players on channels 2 and 3 in the middle, and then you could include, a sampler deck or something on channel 4 into that line input. Put a turntable out here. So they're trying to demonstrate that you can really hook up just really diverse kinds of setups. And then they show pictures of different kinds of setups here. So you can kind of tell how wide it is in this photo.
In relationship to the laptop, yeah.
Yeah. So here's another example setup that they show. This one confuses me a little bit because they have a 5-pin MIDI going to the sampler, but then they also have USB MIDI. To me, that would make more sense to be USB audio. I'm not sure what's happening there.
Maybe they're showing an either or type thing.
That could be, yeah. And then another example setup here. Much more complicated way to do it, but, running into these external, kind of send-receive type setups. So I just want to kind of take like a really close look here. Hopefully this shows up okay on the video. But here's what it looks like. So we got the dual MIDI, the dual USB at the top left. We've got all our channels right here with that compressor knob. And it does make me worry, like, how many DJs are going to use that just because it's there instead of, like, for a reason. But at the same time, it's like, well, when you're buying a $3,000 sound quality mixer, it should have features like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that red.
Got it all lit up. So yeah, in some ways, I mean, it's a DJM, right? Like the beat effects are over here at the bottom right where you expect them. It's got a little bit classier look. It looks like they've gotten rid of the kind of bright flashing orange type of button down here. So here's an interesting thing. So there's headphones B link right here. And I think what this is going to do, so if you look up here, you've got Q. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse pointer or not.
Yeah.
Okay, up here you've got your A and B headphones Q, and then you can see them for each channel, A, B, A, B, A, B. So I'm thinking that this Q button down here just makes them the same. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it looks like. Anybody signing up to buy it yet?
Yeah, I got it in my shopping cart along with my Tour 1.
It is interesting that, the no curves thing. I don't see any channel fader curves or crossfader curves. Did you happen to see anything about that mentioned in the intro video or anything?
Not in the video. But to Tony's point, I mean, maybe they're not gearing this towards the hip hop DJ and more towards the electronic type artist, which would make sense.
Well, I think that's pretty much going to be it until we get a little bit more information. Just wanted to give our initial reactions. I think it looks great. Of course, I want to hear what it sounds like. The filters intrigue me because I'm kind of known for bitching about Pioneer filters, but the way that this is set up, I feel hopeful. Looks like I would be able to adjust it the way I like it, which is very mild, not squelchy.
If you watch the promo video, it does sound a lot better than the actual filter.
Sounds
okay.
Pretty.
Great. All right. So what do you guys think in the comments? Is this a good move from Pioneer? Is the price right at over $3,000? Are you clamoring to sign up, or is this just an example of feature bloat? We'd love to know what you think. Post it up in the comments below and keep on spinning.